Hello, homesteaders. It's good to be with you again. Today I'd like to talk to you about solar panels and how you install them and some ways you can save money. We're also going to show you some used solar panels that you're going to find it difficult to believe that they still work, but they do. We purchased these used panels after a terrible hailstorm here in Colorado. These hailstones were up to grapefruit size. They literally went right through roofs and everything. Solar panels are actually very tough, and as long as the hail is less than golf ball size, your chances are very good. I've had a lot of the panels here in this very hail-rich area for over 20 years without any problems at all. But if the hail gets big enough, there's not much that you can do about it. So I purchased these panels looking the way that they do, which is pretty terrible, because I tested them out with my little $5 Harbor Freight voltmeter, and with that I could test to see that they were still making the proper amount of voltage and amperage. And that information is on a little panel on the back of every panel that's out there, pretty much. It'll tell you how much voltage it should be making and how much amperage it should be making. So I knew they worked, but for $20 a piece, I figured, hey, I can take a chance. These panels would normally cost $400 to $500 a piece. So yeah, then I actually got to use them. They've been running my refrigerator for 2 or 3 years, worked just fine, no problems. And I anticipate that they'll be working for decades to come. I have one panel in my system on the house here that's over 20 years old that has a hole clean through it. An accident in the install. It's been working just fine for 20 years. Now, it may not produce as much as it should, but it still produces enough that it's certainly worth having. All the panels will degrade slightly over time. They'll lose a little bit of their power, but that's not really much of a problem because this is so gradual, and after 20 years or so you add another panel to the whole array and you're good to go. Just keep letting it work. So you'll see that on these panels the way we connect it is we drill a hole through the frame, the aluminum frame that's around the panel. Now, you have to be very careful when you drill that hole. If you get it up too high and drill it into the glass itself, you will destroy the panel. So it's down below, and just drill a few simple holes, and then you can drill it into your wooden frame. It works very simply. It's easy to do. The reason you need a good solid frame is you can't be twisting that panel. The way these panels work is it has lots of little tiny silver wires, and the electrodes are excited by the sun, and as they go around, they attach themselves to these silver wires, and that creates the current flow. If you break those wires by twisting that panel, which is not that difficult to do, then it short circuits the panel, and you can damage the panel beyond use. So that's one thing. Now, I want to show you also that I use bus bars for my connection. Particularly when I'm using used panels and they have all different kinds of connectors, I find it easier just to cut off the old connectors and use a bus bar. And the thing I like about the bus bars is they make an excellent connection, and I use the solid aluminum bus bars, not the kind that are a little bent piece of steel. Solid aluminum bus bars. They're very inexpensive and they work extremely well. And after I've installed it, I can see the wires, and this is very useful. When they're in a connector, I can't see what's going on there, if maybe it's shorted out, if there's a bad connection. But using the bus bars, I can actually see the connections, and it makes it very easy to connect several panels together in different configurations. The next thing you'll notice is that I always run the wire through something that protects it from the sun. In this case, an old garden hose. And I've used those for 20 years and had them, the wire inside the garden hose after 20 years is still just soft and supple. If you leave it in the sun, in just a few years in this Colorado sun, the wire is disintegrating, and that's a big problem. So always put it inside some kind of container. to protect it from the sun, either pipe or plastic pipe, or the garden hose works very effectively. Well, that's a simple way of showing you how to put everything together. If you have questions, you can always call. We're glad to talk to you. And please see the rest of our YouTube presentations. We have over 50 presentations with all kinds of ideas that we use here, actual things that we do on our little homestead that you may find helpful. Keep your eyes on the skies and your hands in the dirt. I have a feeling Jesus is coming back soon.
For we're all in a master plan, though the things we do are just grains of sand.